I did not expect Blackphone 2 to actually deliver, but it did, just not in all aspects. Let's talk about it. As Finney, now 17, struggles with life after his captivity, his sister begins receiving calls in her dreams from the Black Phone. Gwen is now having visions in her dreams of 3 boys being stalked at a winter camp known as Alpine Lake. Black Phone 2 was directed by Scott Derrickson, and he directed some of the movies that I actually like and grew up with. For example, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. He also directed Sinister. Also, of course, Black Phone 1 and Doctor Strange. And like I just mentioned, I like all of those films. And knowing that he directed all of these films makes me want to know more about his films in general and maybe see more down the line. Black Phone 2 was written by Scott himself and by his frequent collaborator, C. Robert Cargill. I hope I said his name correctly. These 2 guys should definitely keep on working as long as they can together. Black Phone 2 delivered in ways I did not expect at all. I was expecting more ideas and similarities from part 1, but honestly it threw me off here and there, at times in a good way and at times in a bad way. I did not see part 1 in theater. I actually saw it back at the house and I was pleasantly surprised by it. And I kinda wish I would have seen this in theater in the biggest screen possible. So when I heard that part 2 was being made, I was really excited for it and I had to watch it on the big screen. This is the type of film that will satisfy the majority. But those that loved and really enjoyed part 1 will be left with a lot to think about. Black Phone 2 took us into a new direction and also into a whole new territory. In my eyes, part 1 ended things so well, it had no loose ends at all whatsoever. It seemed like one-off type of film, but of course, money talks. Part 1 was made on a budget of about $20 million. It ended up making worldwide approximately $162 million. That is about 8 times the budget. No wonder we got a part 2. I was a bit hesitant knowing that part 2 was in the works, but all of my negative thoughts were put to rest when I found out that the exact same team were going back to make the sequel. I love it when a great team like the writer and the director come together and make an actual good film in the end. It's even more impressive when it's a follow-up or a sequel to a movie that people like for the most part. With that being said, let's go over everything that I liked about this film. The imagery used in the dream scenes with Gwen, they for me were pretty spot on. I enjoyed how those scenes were silent. For example, whenever she would be walking, you wouldn't hear any footsteps at all. I also really enjoyed the Super 8 filming style for these particular scenes, and it added a whole different layer to it. And above it all, they were all creepy as hell. This part that I'm going to mention was actually shown in the trailers, so it's not spoilers, but seeing things in her dream actually happen in the real world, like her being tossed around, gave me Nightmare on Elm Street vibes. There is a scene where Finney is in the phone booth during bright daylight talking on the phone with the grabber. That particular scene, the way it was directed, to me was really immersive. I really enjoyed also the conversations that the grabber was having with the characters. There's something really effective when it comes to a villain having conversations with the people in the film, or when they are having conversations with you in general. Clearly, some of the best scenes are the ones where you see the grabber. I did not expect a film like this to have some comedy chops. For example, there was a line about Jesus that made everyone in the theater crack up. And I'm not sure if you know this, but Chewy is a nickname for Jesus or Jesus, so I was dying in the theater as well. Talking about Jesus, one of my top or favorite characters in the film is Armando, the supervisor for Alpine Lake. I told myself I'm going to flip if something bad happens to him, but I want to tell you if I flipped or not. I also really enjoyed how they had Loteria in this film. This film is also about overcoming your fear, your past, and how to move on in life. Gwen, Finn's younger sister, is a badass here. Yes, the film is about Finney as well, but clearly she was one of the main characters because the film basically revolves around her and her dreams. Seeing Gwen being cut, thrown, burned, and bleeding was just intense to watch. Please be cautious, this film is about children getting hurt. I like the less is more approach in this film. For example, when it comes to the gore. Gore is only used when needed to prove a point in the film, and on that topic, one of my top scenes for this film relates with glass in the face. You understand what I'm talking about if you see this movie yourself. This film takes its time with the grabber. It has a lot of story, but it also has a lot of horror, suspense, and some jump scares here and there to keep you entertained until we see more of him. This is a modern version of Freddy Krueger basically. They made the grabber into a dreamwalker. And that's not spoilers because again that was shown in the trailer itself. This film has something for everyone. It has elements from A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, The Exorcist, hell, even Coraline. This can be either good or bad depending on your point of view and on your expectations for this film in general. I really enjoyed the mystery aspect of this film, not knowing everything that's happening and not knowing all of the answers. I also really enjoy how they took their time with the story, but then the second half happened. This actually leads me into what I did not like about this film. This film tries to do a lot at once. A lot of elements being thrown at you, mainly after the second half. And in all honesty, I preferred the first half over the second half. The first half kept me entertained and on the edge of my seat, whereas in the second half, a lot of things were explained and answered, so that honestly took away from the mystery itself. One scene in particular threw me off, and this scene deals with the family and is meant to be a deep moment between all of them. But something particular about that scene, which I cannot get into because that would be spoilers, threw me off and it just took me out of the film for a quick second. But in conclusion, this film is a good follow-up and it truly delivers. Just that in some aspects it falls short by trying to do so much at once. This is why I believe that the majority will enjoy this film because it has a lot of things for everyone to actually like. And in the end, you will be fully entertained just in time for Halloween. This all leads me to my rating for this film. And I will give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. This is the true cinematic experience in theater. I highly recommend going to see this movie before Halloween or on Halloween to see everyone's reaction, any of your friends as well. Well, thank you for your time today, my cinematic family. Hit the subscribe button, maybe the like button if you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on Blackphone 2, maybe if you plan on seeing it as well. I am Chewy, and this is Chewy Cinematic Talk. Take care. I'll see you next time.